I'm curious, how many guys have been to an organization and you start in the organization, and when you have questioned the processes of the way your organization runs, the answer is always, well, we've done it like that. And I remember in the military, I used to hear that a lot. In fact, when I became commander at U-2 Flight Test and PDM, when I went there, the first 6 months, I would ask questions, well, why is it done this way? And inevitably, 80% of the time, the answer was, well, we've always done it like that. And because of, in the past, this is what it was. I go, oh, okay. Now, remember, the U-2 program has been around since 1955. So they've had decades to perfect and make their processes efficient. And that's the great thing about always doing it the same way, right? There's some stability, the process is streamlined, everything is good. However, there could be a downside to that. And the downside is when the environment around you changes, and if as a leader or a manager, you don't take a step back and check to see if that process still works in that changing environment. If you still keep giving the answer, well, we've always done it that way, then you might set yourself up in a situation to have an organization that lacks innovation, you're complacent, and there's some stagnation in the growth of the company and the growth of the people. And when I was a commander down at Palmdale, and I kept getting those answers, I kind of saw the result of we've always done it that way. When one of the aircraft, when I was ready to fly that day, was damaged because of a procedure that they were told not to do, but they had always been doing it that way, and they decided to not listen to the military folks, and they damaged the aircraft. So I tell you this story because as leaders and managers, when the environment is changing, you have to take a step back and look to see if those processes and procedures are actually working in the changing environment. I'm looking real time right now at some industries that are having a problem, whether it's the aviation industry, whether it's other industries where CEOs are stepping down because there have been a lack of changing as the environment changes, and a lack of looking at the procedures as the environment changes, or a lack of adjusting the mission as the environment changes. I look at it as a pilot. If I'm flying my U-2 and I'm coming into land and winds started in one direction and I'm landing on 1.5 and winds are at 180 at 10, and then as I'm coming down to land and they're shifting to a tailwind, then in my head, I have to know that, okay, I have a couple of options to me. I can either ask for the opposite runway if the winds are shifting to my backside. I can wait to see if the winds will shift back around. Or I could take the winds at my tail, which is not the best idea for a U-2. Because I don't know if you've seen some of the U-2 landings. We don't have, tailwinds are not our friend at all. Or I could take the tailwind and land the aircraft. But I know there are options in front of me, and I analyze those options before I actually make the actions that I'm going to do. So as a leader, what are you doing in your organization to do that? Are you stepping back and looking how the processes fit? Are you stepping back and seeing how your people are in this new environment, this post-COVID environment? And is what you did in the past, is that working for you? Is focusing on the bottom line and forgetting about safety in a changing environment, is that working for you when there's not a lot of people who are skilled enough, or the skill set and the knowledge base of some of your older people are leaving because they're either retiring or they're just tired? Is that working for you? And if the answer is no, then how are you going to change that? Or are you going to keep saying, well, that's how we've always done it. Well, it'll work itself out. That mindset and that attitude is what's going to get you in trouble. It's what's going to get people hurt. It's what's going to hurt your bottom line. And then eventually they'll look for someone else to take the reins.